the AI takes over and the robots take over, and yet we're building the robots, telling them all of our information, becoming fully reliant on them. I'm like, there is not that many ways that this could end up.
So I think movies and media foreshadow what's going to happen because the people creating movies and media know. So like, for instance, the Pentagon is involved in a lot of films.
Today is a very special episode because we have a special guest here with us. Kate Terentieva is a communication expert and the founder of Off the Record. Kate is the founder of Off the Record, a connection game that revolutionizes how we communicate and build deeper, more impactful relationships. With a background as a creative and art director for some of the world's most iconic brands like WhatsApp, Calvin Klein, Converse, and Four Seasons, Kate combines her passion for creative innovation with her love of authentic connections through Off the Record. While the game is fun, its true mission is to offer a supportive, enjoyable way to turn small talk into meaningful conversation that brings people closer together.
Wow, Kate, what a badass. Welcome.
Welcome, Kate.
We're so happy to meet you today.
It's lovely to be here. I'm very grateful. So it's nice to be here.
Yeah.
So, Kate, we start off with something that we like to call rants and raves.
Okay.
You can pick either, whatever you feel. If you want to go on a rant, if you want to rave about something, if you want, we can open up to show you what each is, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Are you feeling called to either? Or Reyna, do you have one you want to kick us off?
I have a rant and a rave.
Okay, just pick one.
Which pick
We don't have time for both.
We don't have time for both. Okay, someone was late today, so I won't name names. Okay, so right now what I'm raving about is that I don't want to have kids. And the best part about that is you can openly talk about how people's babies are ugly and not feel like you have to hold back. Because a lot of times I notice my friends who do want to have kids, they won't want to call a baby ugly because they know they're going to have a kid. And so they don't want to like jinx their baby to be ugly. So they'll be like, oh, but I don't want to have kids. So I just to be like, that's an ugly baby. That's my rave.
Okay. Okay.
But it's kind of also like a little rant. So she did do a little 2-in-1.
Okay, so you
Little BOGO.
What are you feeling today?
Oh, I am going to do a little rant.
Great.
I'm really tired of people thinking that trauma bonding is the same thing as having an intentional conversation.
Oh,
Just
Interesting.
bonded over trauma does not mean you know that person.
what's the difference?
I think trauma bonding is, it kicks like a portion of your brain that forces you to empathize with the other person about something. Like, I think trauma bonding is a little manipulative because you're telling somebody something traumatic, subjectively speaking, that happened to you, right? And like, how are you going to respond to that if not with empathy? There's no other way to do it. And so empathy is one of the most important parts of building a relationship.
Yeah.
And you start thinking that like you get one another, but you don't really know that person. I just see trauma bonding so early in friendships and relationships, and then building a relationship on top of that. It's like building a house on really like shaky foundation because you didn't have a conversation yet. You didn't really have an understanding of why the person sees the world, except for with the lens of their trauma.
Right.
And also the other part is like, if somebody trauma bonds with you, I think the first question you need to ask is, what is being projected onto me right now? Is it a need for validation? Is it a need for empathy? But I would argue it's not necessarily a need for real intentional friendship because they're a little different, in my opinion.
I agree. I feel like I'm on the receiving end of like people, not like trauma dumping, but it's like I'll be sharing something about my life, which is just traumatic. And then they're bonding with me, but I never feel like I'm bonding with them.
Yeah,
Like, I'm just like, okay, this is just my life. I'm not trying to like do anything here. And it's always made me feel really uncomfortable. So
I guess like a
definitely
way to
understand
reframe
you.
it is like having a heavy conversation is not the same thing as having an intentional conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because one leads to trauma bonding and the other one I think leads to a deeper exploration of like who you are.
I like that your rant brought us right into the real of this combo. So, can we back up for a second?
Sure.
Kate, could you tell us a little bit, because you're a creative director, you're now a founder. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and what inspired you to, like, when did you realize that conversations seemed to surface level, and what really sparked this interest in how people can converse and connect? And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I, as a little kid, was forced to grow up really quickly and be emotionally intelligent really quickly. And that led me into like adolescenthood and then ultimately adulthood and thinking that I am too much because I'm just intense, I guess, with the way I have conversations. I want to know why you are the way you are. I like want to ask the hard-hitting questions. Like that's interesting to me. And when I was younger, I was like, I just felt like I was too much in any room. And it ended up being kind of an undercover superpower for me as a creative director because I became really interested in like psychology and why people buy the way they buy, how advertising affects your brain, which is called neuromarketing. And all of that has to start with a hard-hitting question and like understanding, the soul of a brand, the soul of a consumer, and how to connect the two so that it's kind of like a match made in heaven. And yeah, I'm not really one to do like surface level conversations. So like if you want to talk about Labubus and Love Island, I'm not your girl. Mostly because I don't have one and I don't watch the show. But if you want to talk about, like politics or beauty standards or just like falling down a rabbit hole, like I've probably fallen down every single one. I'm thrilled to chat. We can have like an investigative journalism conversation.
You've come to the right podcast.
They call me Reyna Rabbit Hole, actually.
You might have just described the ethos of the entire
This is
podcast.
such an on-brand linking then. I love that. But yeah, and so before Off the Record was a card game, it was a notes app note of like 400 questions that I've amassed over the course of my career that are all like hard, heavy-hitting questions to understand the soul of a brand. And in my opinion, that starts with the founder's story, like their personal life story, because that's where you discover the problem that they wanted to solve, what they felt like society could do better, like, and then ultimately that eventually leads to their brand. I kind of amassed these questions and started to see these really cathartic conversations where we were getting emotional with one another, and these are clients of mine.
Yeah.
Okay, so like we're sitting on Zoom crying, or like I ended up at like a bachelorette or their kid's birthday party. Who takes their creative director to their child's birthday party? Almost nobody, So
Yeah.
I felt like I reached a new level with these relationships, and most of my clients are entrepreneurs or like have started multiple businesses. And so some of them were like, you need to do something with these questions because they're penetrating a level of relationship building that like we haven't experienced before with somebody in a professional setting. And so I started kind of like looking things up, falling down a rabbit hole, Reyna rabbit hole,
Yeah.
about the loneliness epidemic. Do we have one? What does it look like? Where does it start? What are the solutions that are currently out there helping people, whether that's experiential, whether that's tangible, digital? What are we doing to actually connect with one another? Because everyone says that they want that. They all want connection.
Yeah.
What do you think is the cause of the loneliness epidemic?
Well, it's funny you ask, Grace. We're not talking. We're not having conversations. We're not
We're
sharing.
speaking. We're speaking.
We are
Yeah.
speaking. We are talking at one another. I think texting has affected that a lot, where when we text, it's I fire off some words, I send it to you. Then at your convenience, you fire off some words back to me. It's like talking at one another, but we're
Right.
not engaging in a dialogue. And you'll see that also from the tech perspective. More people are uncomfortable getting on the phone.
Right.
More people are uncomfortable getting on a video call. Like, why is that? It's how different is that really than any other interaction that you have? So yeah, we're not having a conversation. We are talking, we are speaking, but we are not engaging in a dialogue that builds these really strong communication habits where you walk away being like, I know exactly who Reyna is as a person. I know who Grace is as a person beyond just they host a podcast, they, are in sales, they whatever that is that you do. Like, I know things about you.
Right.
And so for me, that's always been how I've built relationships. I don't care about having a ton of friends. I want quality relationships in my life. And that's built on creating a safe space to be real with one another and have a conversation about something that matters.
Yeah. Do you think that people are too worried about thinking different from other people and being canceled?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's just Grace's own personal fear.
I
Being
think
canceled,
that's what
just
people
being canceled.
are worried about. No, I think we're gonna get canceled on this
whatever.
podcast, I believe, but I'm doing it anyway.
I think a little bit of, as what I was thinking about as you were talking, had a lot to do with like, I think that people are tied up in their thoughts and their beliefs are their identity or other people's identities, right? So like I have this conversation with my boyfriend all the time. They think that if you know a thing about somebody, that you know that person or that you can extrapolate everything that there is to know about them. And it's almost like the conversations aren't worth it, or they just like have already written them off or like don't want to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And I think differently. I think that actually, I don't think anyone would admit to thinking that way. That's what I see in practice when I'm like talking to people, when we're talking about other people or anything like that. But I just find I like connecting with people, and that's the only reason why I do it. I don't have an interest in a lot of friends either. I'm always like, no more friends. Don't have enough time to do that. But I think part of it is just being so curious about how people think and why they think that way rather than what they think.
Yeah. There's actually a question in the deck that asks you, is it important for your friends to share your opinions? And that explores that conversation. And for some people, that is the case. I have found, though, that most of the time, if you ask a group, it'll be like, well, yeah, totally, because they don't want to.
But opinions and values are different, and I think they get conflated.
Yeah, they get equated with the same thing.
Right.
Same thing with like politics, right? A political viewpoint is not the same thing as a value, in
Right.
my opinion.
Yep.
Those are
Right.
slightly different. They can inform one another, but they are two different buckets. So yeah, and that's also kind of a key point for me is that I really value these like one-on-one connections or like max like 3 people. Cause I feel like then I walk away being like, okay, I know things about you. Whereas in a group, sometimes it's harder to do that. Also because people are so easily influenced in a group with like groupthink.
That's why I shine.
So so yeah, I think if you were to ask that question to like a group of people, I think, they would be afraid of getting
Got it.
Being different. Yeah, I sometimes find myself in arguments with people when it's like the whole group will think one thing and I'll think like maybe the same thing, maybe something different, but I'm kind of like getting off on like, now I'm having an argument with you guys.
Well, this is kind of why, honestly, just so you know our origin story, this is why we started this podcast was Reyna and I would have these long phone conversations for hours digging into a topic. We might think different about it. We might not. And it's not just the things, yes, it's the things best friends talk about, like relationships and life. And it would also be about like politics and whatever.
Aliens.
Yeah, it could be anything. And then, and we sometimes think different, sometimes, but we like to understand each other, find the common ground. And we also are notorious for getting into like political debates at a party with like us. But to us,
my people.
But we love to debate because how else do you figure out like how else do you open your mind than to talk to somebody else that thinks different than you? And we're stuck in these like echo chambers as a society. And I think that's where like we've had so many times that we'll be deep in a conversation and people come over.
We're like getting loud.
Well,
they're not like arguments. Yeah, they're debates.
They're not arguments because we're not mad at each other and we're gonna leave best friends the same as we came in. But people come up and they hear they see what's happening and they just literally like turn around and they're like, oh no, don't go over there. Like they think that it's like they're gonna walk into something that they don't want to walk into. But those are like my favorite conversations,
Yeah. Same. I also really enjoy that. So I'm really glad that I found my people here on this.
I have a question that's like off on the tangent, but you mentioned it way early on, but I was wondering about it. You said that you felt like you were too much.
Mhm.
I think that's something that women think about themselves often about a lot of different things. Were you being told you were too much, and what was that looking like?
No, I don't think I was ever told that. It's just the body language and the kind of micro expressions on someone's face that hinted that to me. As I got older, I just kind of realized that we are on just different we have different mindsets. We think about things in different ways. And one of us will perhaps sacrifice to go deeper and the other one will not. And there's just people like that they're like, I don't want to talk about, anything with regards to like religion or politics or sex, or like, I don't want to touch any of these topics. I just want to play it safe. I don't play it safe in conversation because then I don't know who you are and I don't know who the people around me are. So I misconstrued that when I was younger as I'm being too much because I didn't
Got
see
it.
that energy being reciprocated. But no, nobody ever told me that I
Okay.
was.
You mentioned trauma bonding,
Yeah.
and Reyna and I were talking a bit when we were preparing for this episode about what vulnerability means.
Oh yeah.
And just, so I guess I have a two-part question. How would you define what's being vulnerable? Like how do you know when something's vulnerable? And then the second part is, how is that different? Like, what's the difference between vulnerability and the trauma bonding?
Wait, back up though. Is that the purpose of the cards, is to get people to be vulnerable?
The purpose of it, not necessarily about having heavy conversation, but rather just intentional conversation.
Okay.
It's really more so about getting to know who you are and how you think.
Yeah.
Versus let me tell you all of the deepest, darkest secrets in the
Right.
skeletons I have in my closet.
Is vulnerable, so do you think vulnerable is always heavy? Like it's,
Yeah.
No, but I do think as a recipient of vulnerability from somebody else, I think there's like a shift that somebody has, that if you notice, it's like reflected in like very small ways on their face or in their body language or their tone. As a person that is about to give you something vulnerable, there's something that you like feel like wherever. If some people feel it in their gut, some people feel it in their throat, that they just like feel like they're about to share something. I think vulnerability is prefaced by like a physical feeling that you quite literally feel within you.
interesting.
And I say that more so for observationally speaking, because I don't have like data on this, but every single time I feel like I'm going to share something
Truly vulnerable
about who I am, because I don't walk around like just trying to be vulnerable. Like I want to be myself, but there are certain times in conversation where I do feel that it is a moment to share something, you know, yeah, for lack of a better way to say it, vulnerable or heavy. And yeah, I feel like I'm flooded with like a feeling before I do that.
The reason why we were asking is because I feel like we were talking about what vulnerability and like how do we connect with people. And I've noticed that people connect with me a lot because I feel like they think I'm being vulnerable, but I'm not. So
She'll share something. She has no problem sharing secrets.
they're not secrets.
Well, like saying things that maybe other people would feel uncomfortable saying.
Right.
So
So
and then they think she's being very open
the
and
common
honest.
example is like when I talk about the time I had chlamydia. And like it's a great story. I mean, it's funny. I don't have chlamydia anymore, just like if anyone's listening, for the record. But it's a great story because I got chlamydia and it was really bad timing because the week before I found out I had chlamydia, I had sex with 2 guys in the same day. And then I had chlamydia. And then, I go like, that's a whole thing. It's like a bit. That's a bit I have. I'm not a comedian, but it's a bit. I'll fully admit. But then I feel like people feel like they know me. Like, it's like what you were saying about the trauma bonding thing. I mean, this isn't trauma for me, maybe for the guys, but whatever. And so, I think that they feel like now they know me, that they know a little bit about me. And they do a little bit, but it's kind of just like to me, this is like throwaway.
But they might not, if they wouldn't tell someone.
Most people don't feel
It
comfortable.
feels vulnerable to them.
to them.
So then
Yeah, so see, vulnerability is subjective.
That's why I liked what she said about the feeling, because there
if it doesn't
isn't
give
like,
you the feeling,
yeah, then it's
to
not
share
vulnerable.
That. Yeah.
Like to me also, I would be like, well, I've already healed from this thing. It already happened a long time ago. Like
Physically,
now
mentally.
I'm rare in all the ways. And now it's like funny to me, whatever. Like I don't necessarily think that I'm being vulnerable in that particular moment. But yeah, I don't know. I have like a full body feeling.
Mm.
I only feel like that when I'm in therapy.
I don't know. I've been in too many circles. I'm in the spiritual wellness world.
Oh yeah.
You know how many
That's
times
true.
there's
It's weird over
opening
there.
ceremony, closing
Yeah.
ceremony, and they're like, share something. I guess they don't say it has to be vulnerable, but I think there's a certain expectation that you're going to go a little deeper than whatever would be the surface level share. And it's like, what can I share? To me, it's more about sharing what's authentic and honest, or in a situation like that. Sometimes in spiritual retreats and things and circles I've been in, it's like about sharing without thinking about what you're going to say, just sharing what's on your heart, which is also a bit of a vulnerable practice if you really let it flow and just see like, okay, what's on my heart to share? What's going to come through? So it's almost both spontaneous and it could end up a little bit vulnerable. So
I always skip that
You don't
part
go to
if I'm in
skip that.
no, if I'm in one like by force. I just like I'll keep it to myself because they're like, if you feel so called, and I've not once ever felt called.
I feel like a lot of the times in those types of situations, the vulnerability stems from like a desire to be validated or to be liked. So people share things so that everybody in the room will go like, ooh, ah.
Ooh,
And
she's coming for you, Grace.
well, I'm just saying,
No, she
I
doesn't
also
care.
agree with you
Yeah.
that it should come from a natural place, like truly from the heart, if you feel so called to share. But if you think about it too much, I feel like you end up sharing something that will impress everybody. Like, who has the most vulnerable thing?
Right.
Who's gonna pull
Right.
the
Which
most?
is why I try to be spontaneous with it.
Yeah, because then I feel like, oh, okay, we're just trying to impress people. I'm like, I don't want to impress you with my trauma. That's weird.
Or then
there's-
you get into the trauma bonding.
Or people feel like
situation.
they have to because there's like a social contract.
Yeah.
Her family also plays
Rose and Thorn.
Mm,
and I will pass sometimes, and everyone just looks at me like,
Well, I think the time I remember that was funny was I always do stuff like this. If I have like a Shabbat dinner, we do Rose and Thorn. Reyna always would like pass. And the first time she brought her boyfriend, we're playing and we go around and then she's like, pass. And he goes, Reyna, you can't pass. And I'm like, yes, you can. It's fine. Like,
I'm
I
passing.
assumed she would, but he didn't because he wanted to like play because he was trying to impress me. I'm like, anyone can pass. I just like to have this opportunity. We teach our kids, I mean, my daughters are 3 and 5.
Yeah.
And we teach them to play Rose and Thorn and then they love it. And then they share stuff about their week or whatever. Like, it's so cool to hear from them in a real way what is making an impression on them so much that they actually remember it. Like, these kids have a
but
memory
that's
like
a trick to get them to talk to them.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Right? Like they can't do the cards yet, so they're doing Rose and Thorn.
well-intentioned trick.
Otherwise, they'll be like, nothing happened.
Can we do our surprise, which is, I don't know, maybe you could guess it, but we wanted to know if we could play
Yeah.
a round of the game.
Let's do it.
Yeah, how do we
Especially,
play?
you told us that you will only like us if you know us. So I'm like, we got it. What can I tell you? What do you want to know? So maybe we play, show us how to play.
Okay. So there's really no rules other than
Yeah.
other than each card has 2 questions. So they're both related to one another. And you'll probably see, like, if you're kind of somebody that likes to have deeper conversations, you'll see that each top question kicks off a topic.
Okay.
And then the bottom question allows you to like explore on a deeper level. So basically the flow is kind of like you open up the topic and then the bottom question serves as kind of like a tell me more moment.
Mm.
So they're all different. There's no spicy questions either. And there's no levels. So it's just like whatever you feel like pulling.
Yes. So it's not it's not your secrets. This is like something I wouldn't have known until we
These
talked
are
to you.
questions I played with my clients.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm not going to
It's
ask them to
just
pull
like
out.
helps
This is
facilitate.
profesh.
Well, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like human. It's human.
Human.
It's human.
And then the backs all have photos, and they're all original photography. We collaborated
Oh,
with
cute.
a photographer in Atlanta
Nice.
to shoot these photos. So it's
Love
kind of like a
that.
work of art too, which
Yeah.
is really fun. Okay. So I'll ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Ooh. When you vent, do you prefer a listening ear or a solution?
Who's supposed to
Oh.
answer?
A listening ear.
Yeah, isn't that obvious? Doesn't everybody?
Oh,
We're women.
guys,
We're
yeah,
women.
We're women.
We're women.
Men
so-
prefer immediately solution. I'm like, I'm not even done.
But there are women that love a solution. They're like, I don't really know. Like, I'm too.
Maybe it depends who I'm venting to in the situation. Usually it's like first the listening ear.
Yeah, that's
and then I
true.
think at some point it gets to like, okay, what should we do about
That's
it?
true. I feel like I am good at helping my friends provide
Yeah.
solutions, but I think for me, I always know what I want to do.
Mm.
Same. I just want to rant. Like, I
Yeah.
just want to like take all of the emotions and like share the emotions. But like, I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that being said, what is taking up most of your headspace lately?
Oh.
Well, I'm going to a funeral tomorrow, so I'm like have a really busy. I'm like going
Oh.
straight to the airport after this, and then I'm going to Europe on Friday. So it's just I like couldn't sleep last night because you know when you just have like a lot, everything's fine, like everything's gonna be fine, but it's just like that's been
Gearing up.
yeah, it's just like a lot of movement in a week.
Yeah.
Because like my work computer, I'm starting a job on the 31st, is coming this week. Like, yeah, and I've been playing a game called The Heyday. It's a farm game. And so that and juggling my farm, my crops, that's been a lot.
God. Are you harvesting them on time?
No, I'm here.
They're all dead.
Could you imagine if I was farming while you were
That's
talking?
what you're doing over there.
I was doing it on Saturday at this barbecue. My boyfriend was getting so mad. He's like, you don't need to do that right now. I'm like, I'm in a derby with my neighborhood, my online friends, and they are counting on me to get these points. So I had because I had an alarm going off. Like,
You're like, I can't disappoint these people.
no, I was harvesting pumpkins at a pumpkin challenge. So
Oh my
that's what's been on my mind.
Priorities, yeah.
You asked.
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, the first thing that came to mind, but I don't actually think it's taking most of my mind share, but I was about to ask you a question about, are you one of those people that will like vent to ChatGPT? And I was going to say,
what do
I
you
have
think
been
about that?
low-key worried about our humanity. Like, how many people are going to ChatGPT for answers? Like,
Please
almost
do not get me started.
I almost did it as a joke with my husband last night because we were arguing about something. I'm like, should we? He goes, who needs a therapist when you could do ChatGPT? I'm like, should we ask it? And I was typing in the question, and then I go, I don't want it to know all these secrets, so I like deleted it out. And this is like what it is a real thing I'm worried about. Like, what's the future of human consciousness?
You
It's
know,
ending.
not only is it like sharing things to ChatGPT and asking it to be your therapist, which I don't think it's like effective fully. I mean, type in an idea that you have in a ChatGPT. ChatGPT is going to be like, you're brilliant, you're a genius. I'm like, not every single thing I say is,
Yeah.
but there's just
Yeah.
physically impossible.
It'll also like criticize its own work. I'm like, you typed this last time, so what do you mean?
You said that, you know?
You could do it this way. I'm like, what?
But the more concerning thing to me is writing texts and emails in ChatGPT. I'm like,
A lot of people do that.
so
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's odd,
Oh, definitely.
you know, to use AI to help you write a text.
I'm worried because haven't we seen the movies
Yeah.
where the AI takes over?
That's where they get the ideas.
This is like we're like the AI takes over and the robots take over, and yet we're building the robots, telling them all of our information, becoming fully reliant on them. I'm like, there is not that many ways that this can end up.
So I think movies and media foreshadow what's going to happen because the people creating movies and media know. So like, for instance, the Pentagon is involved in a lot of films. Like, they consult on films.
They're like trying to.
So like,
get
you're
us
telling me
ready.
they don't know that ChatGPT is coming or that AI is. Of course they know.
Yeah. Well, then maybe they should.
well, the
think about
military
it a
always
little
has
more.
it first.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, but then well, I'll just leave it there. That really isn't taking up 100% of my mind share, but it was the first thing that came to mind.
That is important.
Yeah.
Do we want to do another one?
if we have time.
Can we ask you one?
Sure.
Yeah. You want to pull it?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, we do.
I'm gonna shuffle. Have you answered all of these like 100 times?
Okay, so no, and also I don't know which one you're gonna pick based on the photo on the back. People tend to assume that I
Oh,
know.
that you're like a magician.
Ooh, I'm gonna pick.
I feel like
I'm gonna
I like
pick
consciously
based
try
off
not
the
to remember
photo.
either because I'm like, I want to be surprised.
Okay, would you say you're very opinionated?
Oh, 100%. And I stand 10 toes down. I don't speak in op-eds though. So like my opinions are backed by data usually. And if somebody doesn't know me and if I express something, I'm like, oh, you know, blah, blah, like the Pentagon being involved in movies and stuff. People are like, oh, but how do you know? I'm like, you can do a quick Google. Like it's there. You can fall down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So I'm very opinionated and I'm also like pretty convicted in what I think, but I'm open to other people's opinions. My opinion has been changed based on things I've learned. So I'm not, you know, I won't reject somebody else's thoughts.
I feel like I'm opinionated, but my opinions are based on vibes.
Vibe.
Yeah.
That's also unnecessary. Sometimes that's just what it is. Like you just feel.
Well, your type of intuition, so don't get me started on intuitive types, but her type of intuition is this grounded, it's the archetype of the wise sage, which is like she'll know things, but she
Oh, this is my soul's last time on
it's
earth.
like the
I can
facts,
tell.
it's like the
It's like-
facts of the world that she just knows deep in her
Yeah.
bones. And so it's like she doesn't know how she knows it, but she knows it's true. You ever feel that way?
Yes.
You know, you're
What
like
is your
I just-
zodiac sign?
I'm a Cancer.
I'm a Virgo. I was gonna say.
I was
feel
gonna
like
ask
you are.
about yours when you said, you know, at the beginning when you were talking about the way you were. You're a Virgo. Do you know your rising sign? Your moon sign?
Leo, and then my moon is Capricorn.
Whoa, that's crazy.
I thought you were gonna say Scorpio somewhere there because they're the ones that want to like go deep
Well,
in
yeah,
the
and
beginning. Well, I guess Virgo.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
too.
it's the
They want to know
no
everything.
op-eds is probably
Yeah.
the dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Virgos are intense. We're intense. We know things, we feel things.
You want to be able to like analyze the whole situation, and like that's what you mean by knowing people. Like, how can you know who they are if you haven't like gotten to that
Yes,
level of
I
like
love an analysis.
the data of who they are?
I see. I just
love.
like know people.
Off vibes.
Of the vibes.
Yeah,
Of the vibes.
well, we're both Cancers,
Yeah.
so it is we're vibey. We're
Oh.
off vibes.
Yeah.
Vibes. Yeah,
Yeah.
necessary.
But we can tell, but we also sometimes, or I'll speak for myself, I also sometimes need to have a conversation with someone to let them kind of like unfold so I can feel their vibe. So you're collecting data and I'm like just seeing what like feeling what I feel from how you know what I mean?
I'll have a feeling and then I'm like, but we need to validate the feeling. Like that's
Okay. That's just I can't. But
so
I
then
can.
that's
like
the
that.
Virgo. Whereas
That's
you're just
really
like, I
funny.
just feel and like cool feels, you know? And for me it's like we need to assess what this feeling is and we need to
I
analyze
see.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
I
That
love
seems
that.
no like stressful for me. I know that it's not for you.
No,
that
yeah.
You like it and it's like works and it's like it's your superpower. But to me, I'm like, oh man, that's like information overload.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
I love
No, I get it though.
the information. Any information, I don't care. And I'll just like dump it at somewhere.
Yeah.
See when it's too full up here, I'm like, okay.
Well, do you want your follow-up question?
Sure.
Do you already know what it is?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. When was the last time you disagreed with someone?
Oh. I feel like I want to say I disagree with people all the time.
Yeah, I'm gonna say daily.
I'm trying to think of this is the difficult question. The difficult part is about some of these questions is like my first thing is like I need to think about something big that I disagree.
Yeah.
But yeah, I most of the time I don't really remember like the big disagreements either. I don't harbor on them. I'm just like, okay, it happened. I disagree with you. Probably we found a resolution through some sort of conversational exploration and then I just kind of move on. So I don't always remember the things I disagreed on. Yeah, because most of the time they're like really trivial. They're not usually
Yeah.
really big.
Well, and that's also the type of person you are and the way
Yeah.
that your mind works, where
It's
you don't
true.
think that a disagreement means that you don't like each other or that you can't
Yeah,
be friends.
that's a good point.
Or so it's like, of course, it won't stay in your mind. Like some people, they're like, it's a disagreement, and now our friendship is
It's over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel that from you.
I just
I can feel the vibe.
the vibe.
Vibes. I wish it was a different word though.
Vibes. It's
Vibes.
been
It's
co-opted.
No, but the minute you said we're cancers, I'm like, no, I know the vibes. I know the exact vibes that you're talking about. So I get it.
I love this. I'm so
I know.
glad you brought it. Have you used this with, I guess you use it with your clients. Have you used
Yeah.
it with your own friends? How is that?
I have. And I realized how much I don't know about my friends
Interesting.
and how much we have yet to explore about one another because some friends I've had for a really long time, and to a certain point I feel like I know things about them that are really substantial, but the thing I always forget is that like people evolve
Mhm.
on such a regular basis that the thing you thought about and you were convicted on or whatever years ago is obviously not going to be the same, even to the same extent today. So yeah, I realized like how much I don't know about my friends and how fast everybody evolves and changes. And it's really inspirational to some degree because it's like, well, we could endlessly talk about stuff.
Yeah. Were you pouring a lot into work?
Yeah, I'm a workaholic. Yeah.
Got it. Could never be me, but here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had relationships suffer because of work. And then earlier, like when I was younger, I would form relationships around work.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and even dating. So I was like, I can only date people in the creative industry, which later learned like that's like 1.1
Blew my mind.
1.1% of the US workforce is creative. Okay. So like professionally trained creatives. So I'm thinking I'm going to meet my match and this is like 1.1%. And also as a creative director, dating another creative director
that seems-
is
I feel like you should date a stay-at-home dad. Well, like your stay-at-home dad, not somebody else's.
no,
If you're a workaholic, I feel like that's the answer.
I love an ambitious man.
Oh.
So like I wanted a power
Downfall.
couple. It was like,
Got it.
oh, creative director, like somebody.
But also like creative director, like a creative director wife sounds like it would go with like some other, it's like,
Yeah.
he's like, what is
No.
he? He's like,
He's an engineer.
oh, an engineer.
He loves numbers.
Love
He's a
that.
data guy.
See?
I knew,
Exactly.
like, I was
And then
like
his
trying
wife
to
is a
force.
creative director. Like that's the power couple. You don't need like two same.
I know, but also dating like male creative directors. No
Are-
shade, no tea. Are insufferable
Oh, I was gonna say gay, but
in the fashion industry. Most
I was
likely,
like, they're gay, so you have no chance. So
Um,
1.1% down to
yeah,
0.5.
cut in half. Yeah. Yeah, they're insufferable. So
So
But,
then even less 0.25.
exactly, and then I can't date another art director specifically because we clash. So then what do I have? The copywriters and the graphic designers and the like developers. Which I'm like, you know what? It's hard because they're all very emotional people. Like the way we see the world is based on our lived experiences and how we feel. And like it's kind of an artist in a way,
Yeah.
except in the communication space or the marketing space. And so they're very, myself included to some degree, very emotional people and very like sensitive. And yeah, so I was kind of going against the natural order, thinking that I would end up with a creative. I'm very single, but like it would be 100% some sort of data software guy.
Do you
Sexy.
play this with guys you're dating?
Yeah. Do they like it?
It's fun. Because I get like really nervous in dating. I'm super awkward in flirting, and I like when God made me, he poured nothing into my romantic intelligence and like everything else, everywhere else. And so like I have no idea when someone's flirting with me, and I want to be the girl.
Really?
Yeah, no idea. I just assume they're being nice. So like the other day, for instance, I was
think
in
everyone's
line.
flirting with me.
I want that. Teach me how to be that. Like I have some friends where we'll be sitting at a bar and there's a guy that just like looks at her and she's like, he's in love with me. And I'm like, ha. Can you like what did you see? Break it down for me. I brought a notepad. Let's go.
Should we teach her about sex size?
PowerPoint, like whatever. Meanwhile, camera pans to me in a coffee shop. Behind me is a very attractive man. And he's like, hey, so have you tried the croissants? Like, are they
Oh my
good?
God.
I'm like, why is he asking me about the croissants? Like, I work here. So I was like,
don't fucking work here.
yeah. So I was like, I don't know. This is my first time here. Like, I have no idea. But like, and then I say verbatim, you should ask him because he works here.
No,
She
not
really
the
doesn't get
handoff.
it. She really doesn't get it.
Right.
He was like, oh, she's very uninterested.
Yeah.
But then we kept kind of chatting, whatever. And I'm like, he's just being nice. He's just being polite. I live in the South, so I'm just assuming that that's what's happening, right? We get to the checkout line kind of at the same time. And he was like, oh, this was a lovely little conversation. Like, can I have your number? Like, love to chat. And I was just like, what? So we can make croissants together? And he goes, yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
Did you?
Did
Wait,
you?
wait.
Hold
Were
on.
you into him or no?
I thought he was hot, but I was not assuming that he's like flirting with me.
Okay. Well,
So
this is
I
good,
just-
right? Did you
I'm
give your number?
confused. She's
did.
got no vibes. She's got no vibes.
I don't have any game. I am like, have no idea when somebody is interested in me. I just don't assume, I don't have that assumption that like everybody's into me. But I want that. And some of my friends are very also gifted in that department where they're like, everyone's in love with me.
Okay.
Why wouldn't they be?
I would say
That's my
I
question.
don't assume like off of one interaction, I'm not like they're in love with me. But if somebody like calls out, like is engaging, then like my response is with this vibe of like, what are you trying to do? You know, like so then I can
Yeah.
gauge it. So like maybe go in with just like a curiosity of like,
yeah.
are you flirting with me? Like
Maybe,
don't
yeah.
ask out loud.
Well, okay.
I'm glad you clarified because I feel like she might.
But you know, it could be that like, oh, they're coming up to me, speaking to me out of the blue.
Or just the curiosity.
like why are they? You know?
I think honestly, when I've really thought about it on a deeper level as to why I am that way, it's because I've been lusted over and I don't like that feeling.
Mm.
And so I would rather prefer that somebody actually wants to get to know me as opposed to viewing me from like an angle of,
But when someone doesn't know you,
I know.
like that's the thing. And I think asking you out is being like, or flirting with you or lusting is the beginning stages of like, now the next step
Yeah.
is to get to know you. So I know what you mean. Like you don't want to be objectified. And there's a, difference, but it is kind of step number one
I
of
know.
like just general interest.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of have to accept a little bit of, you want your person to be attracted to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't
You
want to
want them
not
to-
be lusted after by your
Yes.
man.
Those people
Or
are.
I would not. I
would-
mean, like my
maybe-
favorite
I
part
don't
of
know.
being married is that like my husband lusts after me and is like upset. You know, like it's like such
Yeah.
a nice feeling. You don't want to be like, oh yeah, she's a good partner, but like,
Yeah.
like it's like that is a very important initial ingredient, and
Yeah.
it's like the only thing you can tell off of not yet
Yeah.
connecting.
That's a good point.
But then you like,
You can't see your brain.
but then the flirting tells you like, oh, is there something more? Do we have a chemistry? Do we have a rapport? Do they have good chat? You don't watch Love Island, but
no, but I've seen the memes, so I know.
I only have been watching this one season, and it's like sucked me in.
I haven't
sucked
seen
me
it.
in.
We went to a Love Island watch party by accident, though, me and
By
some friends.
accident.
We were just at the bar and we just went, ooh and ah, when the whole crowd did.
Yeah,
Yeah, we didn't.
it
We
is
didn't
a
get
whole
it. We didn't know.
experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do you have any more questions that you want to ask before we get to our last question?
No.
Do you have
Do you have
anything
any
else
questions for
that we
us?
didn't share?
Oh,
We
yeah.
have one more question for you, but
Yeah, we do have one.
I don't know that I have any questions for you. I've just been, observing, listening.
okay, we have a final question for
Okay.
you. Well, which way do you want to ask this? Okay. No, you ask. You want to ask? You looked at me.
Well, you started talking. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, so we like to end by asking our guests if you could ruin anything, what would it be?
If I could ruin anything.
Yeah, we need to preface this.
If you just ruin small talk for
Ooh.
people, what's the next thing you're going to ruin
If I could ruin anything.
for our listeners?
Which is everybody, the masses. It's huge.
Okay. So I guess I'll give you a sneak peek, kind of,
Ooh,
because
you heard it here first.
we're working on a second deck.
Nice.
And this is a topic that none of our competitors have touched. In fact, they refuse to touch political conversations.
Oh,
You're in the right place.
wow. People don't want to touch it.
Because it's a taboo topic.
Yeah.
Because they think that they're going to end up in like severed friendships, basically, or severed relationships.
Wow. Okay.
So like the current state of political conversations, I wanna ruin.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Love. Good
Yes.
answer.
Okay, you might have to come back for another episode
Yeah,
where
when the
we
next
ruin
deck comes
political
out.
conversations. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no, the opposite of ruin.
We ruin
Not having political conversations.
Yes.
Avoiding political conversations.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we got there in the
She's
end.
creative directing us.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'll ruin dating conversations. How funny would that
Yeah,
be?
no, full circle.
What a
Love that.
ironic take. Yeah.
Beautiful. And then how can our listeners find you?
Yeah. So you can follow Off the Record, Play Off the Record on Instagram, TikTok. And then I also have personal TikTok at Katerina Terentieva, which will be linked in the show notes. I'm assuming I'm speaking for Reyna and Grace, but
Yes, exactly.
got it, girl. What are you guessing? So yeah, and I'm on LinkedIn too if anybody wants to connect as well. So
Throughout the LinkedIn. Yeah.
I mean, she's a professional.
Yeah.
I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
So
I catch her on LinkedIn.
That should be the first question. Like, how can we connect? And based off what they answer, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, that tells you a lot.
Yeah.
yes.
That tells you a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Grace and Reyna. This was really fun.
Yay. So that's it for today's episode of Reyna and Grace Ruin Everything. We hope we ruined small talk for you. If you liked this episode, what are you supposed to do?
We don't know. Like and subscribe.
And leave us a review, only if it's good. Just kidding.
Yes, that's true.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.